The story of Muchalat Harry. In 1928, a fur trapper and Nootka Native American by the name of Muchalat Harry came paddling home to Vancouver Island in his canoe at around 3 a.m. What was unusual was he had no equipment with him and no furs. He was dressed in only his underwear. He was suffering from exposure to the winter weather, and he was clearly terrified. While nursing him back to health, his family and friends were unable to get anything beyond babbling from Muchalat, so they turned his care over to the local missionary in hopes he could discover what had happened to the frightened man. Father Anthony Terhar recorded the following story. Muchalat had gone to the Kanuma River at the head of Tlupana Inlet with his traplines and enough supplies to last several weeks. While most never ventured alone into the area, Muchalat preferred to work alone. After reaching a good place, he cached his canoe and walked several miles inland to a location he considered a good fur area. He pitched his camp and set up his trap lines. All went well for a while. Then one night, as he sat dozing by his fire, dressed only in his woolen underwear and wrapped in a blanket, he was suddenly woken fully by being picked up and thrown over someone's shoulder. As he struggled to get down, Muchalat Harry realized he was being carried by a big hairy man-like creature which he immediately knew was a Sasquatch. He estimated he was carried 2 to 3 miles from his camp deeper into the woods before the creature stopped, dumping him on the ground next to a steep hill with a rock overhang. When he looked around, he found himself surrounded by around 20 Sasquatch. Males appeared to be at the front of the group, with females and then the young behind them. As if that were not enough to fill him with fear, he could see gnawed bones lying around on the ground. Seeing those bones, Muchalat decided he had been brought there as food. He remained pressed up against the rock wall behind him as different males approached. They appeared to be fascinated by his underwear, pulling at it. He supposed they finally decided it must be some sort of loose outer skin, for finally they appeared to lose interest and walked away. For a little while, the females and some of the young came a little closer and examined him also. When it became full light, most of the adult Sasquatch left the area. There were only a couple of adult females and the young left behind. Around noon, 2 of the females lay down to sleep. Muchalat Harry took his chance to escape. He jumped up and began running down the hill, never looking back, hoping that somehow he could reach the river. And his calculations were right when he came out at the river. He began to follow it out of the wilderness. Around 1.5 miles down the river, he found the place he had stashed his canoe. He jumped in and began to paddle. Even though he could detect no sign of anything following him, he continued his frenzied flight, never stopping until he reached home. Father Anthony took him in and nursed him back to health. It took several weeks before Muchalat was well enough to begin to reluctantly tell his story to Father Anthony and then afterwards to only a few select friends. Muchalat Harry never returned to the Kanuma River camp to collect his rifle, trap lines, or other belongings, all valuable items in his life. They say he never went back into the forests again. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications bell.